So now let's talk about the infinite loop. This is a very interesting problem statement that you may come across often while you code in C++ towards the beginning of your coding, right? Because this is a very common mistake. So infinite, as the name suggests, something that is beyond um, number or calculation, right? So what happens sometimes is that if your condition of a loop is always true, then the loop runs for infinite time or until the memory is full. Okay, so remember, every in each and every looping statement we emphasized on the importance of the condition. If that condition is always true, that means that that loop will always run, right? So whatever statements are there inside the loop will actually run forever till the time your memory is full. Okay, so this is a very common mistake that usually programmers do, and it's always good to avoid these kind of problems by checking, is your problem statement correct or not? Okay, so let's take this example of while loop. So you're initializing the value of I with 5, and now you're saying that while I is greater than 0, while I, that is the condition is 5 is greater than 0 for the first iteration, and then you're doing I plus plus. So now the value will become 6. Okay, now it will check again, is 6 greater than 0? Yes, it's correct. It will enter back. Then the value will become 7. So is 7 greater than 0? Yes. So this will continue till the time your compiler says that I have run out of memory, or there are some other errors that you may encounter. Okay, this is an example of while loop which is infinite. Let's talk about the for loop, say. So you're initializing the value of I as 6, and you're basically giving the condition that I is greater than or equals to 6, and then the updation part is I plus plus. So exactly the same case as the for loop. So this will actually go on executing till the time your memory is full, or the compiler gives you some sort of compiler error or something like that. Okay, code example could be that basically for you actually miss the three elements that we were talking about. You miss the initialization, you miss the condition, and you miss the updation value. So this is also an example of infinite loop. So you will not get an error message because if it's stuck in an infinite loop. So now that you have idea about the infinite loop, you can definitely relate to this meme. One person, one event is dependent on the other, and the two events are not happening. So again, it's an infinite loop, right? I bet many of us love to create interesting patterns. You know, C++ actually gives you this opportunity to create interesting patterns by using loops. Let us see how. So generally what happens is that two or more loops are used to implement these programs. The first loop is actually used to create row and all the conditions related to the row, and the second loop is actually used to create the columns and every condition related to the columns. Okay, so this is how the patterns can be formed. Try as many questions, as many patterns you want to try. Now let's talk about the jump statements. So in C++, we have three kinds of jump statements. The first is your break statement, the second is your continue statement, and the third is your go to statement. Okay, jump statements are basically used either to take the execution control out of the loop, as in the case of break, okay, or skip the execution of statements after it, okay, and go to statement if you want to jump to a statement passed in parentheses. So the syntax for these three are basically you use the keyword break, you use the keyword continue, and in this you use this kind of a syntax. What happens is you write a label, semicolon, the statements, and then a go to label. So whenever it will be encountering this statement, the flow execution will go at this point. Okay, this is what we mean by the jump statements. Let's quickly formulate the example for the break statement. So you say that this is your code and you were actually trying to print the value of numbers from 1 to 9. Okay, so what exactly are you doing? You are initializing the value of I as 0. The condition is I is less than 10 and the updation value is I plus plus. whenever, this will go on perfectly till the time i's value is 3. Okay, so this output will be 1, 2 and 3. The moment it will encounter the variable or i's value equals to 4, right, at this particular moment it will check. Now the condition is if I equals to 4, break. What does break do? Break will actually bring the control here. Okay, it will bring the control out of the for loop, whichever loop it was in. It will bring the control out of the for loop, and then the program will actually terminate. This is the use of break statement. It will take the execution control out of the current loop it is actually called in. Okay, let's also formulate how the continue statement works. So exactly the same code, but the difference is that it will actually print 1, 2, 3. Okay, the moment it will encounter 4, it will act, and the statement says to continue. Continue means you are skipping this value. So the flow of execution will not terminate, it will actually continue. It will skip the value of I equals to 4, and here the value will become here the value will become 5 is less than 10. Okay, so i's value is skipped, so your output would be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, as you can see in this output screen. So the basic difference between break is that in break what we were doing, we were actually bringing the control to this statement. Okay, but in continue we are just skipping that part of the instruction. Okay, so that is how the difference is there between break and continue. This is a program to demonstrate the use of go to statement. Okay, remember the syntax. We are used to have a label, set of instructions, and then a go to statement. Okay, so in this program we are finding if a number is even or not using the go to statement. So what we are doing is that we are just formulating a function. At this point of time, if you do not understand what a function means, no worries, it's just like int main. So this is the main function, right? Exactly in the similar way we can make our own functions, okay, to perform certain tasks. So, for example, this is your function, and these are basically your statements. So, you see, this is your label, even, semicolon, and these are your statements here. This is your label odd, and this is your statement here. Okay. So, how will the execution start? It will go to the main function. Main is the first part that will be executed. The number's value is 26. Okay. So, this will be passed into this function. Okay, now it will check if num modulus 26 modulus 2 equals to 0. If it's true, yes, it's true, right? So it will go to even, that is this part. So this part will be printed, so the output would be 26 is even. Okay, this is how it's done. For example, we take the value not as 26 but say 27. Now, this part will be false. It will go to the else part, and this is odd, right? So this flow of execution will go to the 20th line, and then 21st line will be printed that 27 is odd. So this is how your go to statement will be working. Okay. So I hope it's clear to you. You use the syntax keyword go to and then the label's name semicolon. When you're talking about the label, you use the label's name and then colon and then the statements you write. So I hope that go to statement is also clear. That usually you should avoid the use of go to statement. Reason being that go to statement may lead to buggy conditions. Okay, buggy statements. It's always better not to use jump statements till the time your code can survive it. Okay, and go to should be the last option you should use, though it seems a bit very easy, but trust me, you may run into bugs and errors that you may not be able to solve because you have used the go to statement. The flow of execution actually becomes a bit messy if you use the go to statement, because for every label you could have a series of statement, and then problem can arise. So just make a note of this, that avoid jump statements least and go to the most least. I know it's been a tiring and a very long lecture, but trust me, this is the most crucial, important, very much important lecture of the whole C++ series. till date. Looping is one of the concept that needs to be very, it needs to be crystal clear, because each and every problem statement that you will be encountering in the future will actually be dealing with loops as well as with the conditional statements. So this section is a very important section. If you do not understand it, read through it again, follow the links, follow the resources, but make sure that you have a clear idea about all the conditional statements, if else, nested if, etc. And then your looping conditions, for loop, do while loop, and while loop. Crystal clear. Okay, that's all, folks. Hope you enjoyed the lecture, and if you have any doubts, please discuss them in the discussion forum. You can even mail us. Hope to find you in the next lecture. This is the end of the conditional statements.